Paul Byron has had himself an interesting 2021 with the Montreal Canadiens. He was on waivers. People looked at his contract during the regular season. In the playoffs, completely different guy. He's scored some pretty key goals at different points in the postseason, and he's come up big for this organization as they go through their storybook run through the Stanley Cup playoffs. Where do you think the Montreal Canadiens would be if some team during the regular season said, you know what, we'll take Paul Byron off of waivers?
Well, I think the organization obviously is so happy that they didn't lose him. Paul Byron has been known as a great, team player on and off the ice. He wears the A for a reason. He's a guy that, really goes out of his way to do whatever he can do to help out his team. And, he's obviously performing and doing great things for the Hockey Club, just like Corey Perry. I mean, you have to, put him in the mix on the waiver front. And he's a guy that would have been sorely missed if they had lost him. And it's great to see these guys respond. They're real pros and they're quality people. And I think that those type of characteristics are showing through. And it's nothing but a bonus to have those guys in the dressing room and outside the dressing room to help each and every one of those guys that don't have the kind of experience that those guys have.
Well, with the big goals Byron has scored, you have to think the Canadiens wouldn't be where they are without him. But on the other hand, maybe somebody else would have stepped up in his place to score those goals. But for Paul Byron, I remember years ago having a conversation with a guy who was president of a pro sports team, not in the NHL, but he was talking about the importance of having good people, not just good players, but good people in your locker room, and saying about how when you bring in one or two bad people, it can just disrupt everything. Paul Byron is a good person. He's a good person. He's an honest hockey player. He's a good guy off the ice. The players on the team love him. As Rick said, there's a reason why he wears the A. The Canadiens, it was a salary cap move putting him on waivers. The Canadiens said they didn't want to lose him. I think a part of them maybe wouldn't have minded losing him just to get that $3 million cap hit off the books. He had been a healthy scratch. He wasn't playing a lot, but never bet against Paul Byron. 6th-round draft pick, 5'8" or whatever he is, a little guy. Nobody would have bet on him to ever make it to the NHL. The Canadiens got him because they picked him up off of waivers. A great move by Marc Bergevin to claim him. So I'm just so happy for Paul Byron. Seeing the game there on Sunday, his wife and kids in the stands on Father's Day and scoring the big goal. It was really nice to see. I got a lot of time for Paul Byron. I like him as a hockey player. I like him as a guy. Would the Canadiens be where they are now without him? Probably not. As I said, unless somebody else stepped up and filled that role for him. But Paul Byron is a key player on this hockey team, on the ice and in the locker room.
And Paul Byron is very similar to Brendan Gallagher, that nothing in their life ever came easy. They always had to prove that they belong where they are, and they've had to work harder than everyone else. And that has helped them, down the stretch. And I think he really wanted to be a difference maker. He wants this opportunity to compete in the Stanley Cup finals and potentially win the Stanley Cup. And he wants to do everything he can to help his team get into that position. And he's a great leader on this team as well. And I think that has really helped, not only by the way that he's playing, but also in the locker room as well. So that would have been a big element that was missing from the Montreal Canadiens if someone did pick him up off waivers. But life has a way of working out, and things are working out really well for Paul Byron and the Montreal Canadiens right now.
So it's saying good things happen to good people. That's what's happening right now with Paul Byron.
That's very well said on Paul. I couldn't have put that any better way than you guys have. That's a really good thing to say. And he does come across as a really nice person. So yeah, it's good to have good things happen to good people. In this case, Paul Byron. Let us know in the comments section how you felt about Paul Byron's performances this postseason, and where do you think the Canadiens would be if some team felt for whatever reason they needed to pick him up on waivers. Also, visit hockeyinsideout.com to check out our full episode. And hey, just because we reached 10,000 subscribers on YouTube doesn't mean we can't use any more. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, or wherever the button is. Do it.